Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, February 5th, 2024, and we will call this regular meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Baspis Rath.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Habusta. Commissioner Marble.
Here.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Habusta did let us know he wouldn't be able to make it this evening, so we'd need a motion to excuse.
Motion to excuse.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Habusta is excused. If everybody would please silence your cell phones, and if we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item 4 is mayor comments and general announcements. I wanted to comment on the I-500, but Linda Hoth is here, and she's going to fill us in, I think, during public comments. But certainly on behalf of the city, it was an amazing display. They pulled it off with only 13 days to put water down to freeze on the track. It was one of the best spectator events, I think, that I have seen. There wasn't a snowmobile in the parking lot, so everybody was there by different vehicles. It was nothing short of amazing. So lots of kudos to the I-500 committee, all the volunteers, and certainly the community. I think Linda will talk about their ticket sales, but it was even up this year. And saw a lot of community members there, so it does take a community to pull something like this off. And special thank you, of course, to City DPW, City Police Department, and City Fire Department. Big events like this cannot happen without support from the community. Probably a lot of people don't know, but the city DPW had to haul in snow so that they could have a snowmobile race up on top of the hill. Of course, the city water department furnishes millions of gallons, isn't it, of water that they use? How many? 1.2 million gallons of water going onto the course. And certainly our first responders, second to none. We were there all day. I know that everybody was there or participated in I-500 business activities. I know that it's a very busy time. And really is neat to be up there and to see City Sault Ste. Marie Police Department personnel walking with state police personnel, with Border Patrol personnel, with Sheriff Department personnel, and to see our fire department working hand in hand with other fire unit or other ambulance units. There was My Michigan had an ambulance up there. I think there was a Kinross ambulance up there. But just to see everybody come together to make sure that an event like that is pulled off is nothing short of amazing. So thank you very much to everybody. Linda probably will talk about this, but the legislative event that she has done for the last 3 years was phenomenal. And she had 16 legislators here in town. This, on the back of a huge event, is something that we have never done as a community before, and it really is helping to put us on the map. We had a ton of people here from MEDC, from other state agencies. They took tours of complexes. We had individual meetings with them. Had a great venue out in Kinross with Chippewa County EDC. It just helps to elevate this region and let them see the great things we're doing. And we do need help from other legislators because we are a small area in the UP and we only have our senator and state rep, and we really need the buy-in of all of them. So we had a great time entertaining them, and they loved it. And thank you very much, Linda, for everything that you and the CVB do. Sioux Tribe also had an excellent dinner with the legislators, and they did it right as well, and it just is a fantastic time. This weekend, I should say, is the Katie Robinson Memorial Showcase. There are 19. They started with 4 teams, this girls tournament that they put together a few years ago. This year they have 19 female hockey teams coming to town, runs from February 9th to 11th. You can find information on SaultStMarie.com, which is the CVB's website. Their marquee game is Friday night at 7 p.m. at the Polar, and it's the LSSU Lady Lakers versus Aquinas. Entry is by donation. This is a fundraiser for Katie Robinson Scholarship and the Diane Pepler Resource Center. The intent is to raise awareness for female sports and to empower young women and encourage relationships on and off the ice. So please support youth hockey and this women's event. Moving on into item B, which is proclamations and recognitions. This is a little after the fact, but we did prepare this resolution or a proclamation in time and got it to the family of Taffy Abel. So they sent us a note from Florida, and we got it together for them, and so we wanted to read this today. In recognition of Taffy Abel's Winter Olympic Centennial, whereas the Taffy Abel family and his Native American Ojibwe tribe are celebrating Native American Taffy Abel and his Winter Olympic Centennial, January 25th, 2024, and for his contributions to American sports in ice hockey and in both minor and major leagues such as the NHL. And whereas Taffy Abel became the first Native American Winter Olympian on January 25th, 1924. Out of 380 USA hockey Olympic players from 1924 to 2022, there have only been 3, which is 0.7% USA Native American Olympic hockey players. And whereas on November 16th, 1926, Taffy Abel also became the first Native American in the NHL. He broke the NHL color barrier that day, playing for the New York Rangers. Out of 7,826 NHL players from 1917 to 2023, there have only been 8.1% USA Native American NHL hockey players. And whereas Taffy Abel played 8 years and 333 NHL games for the New York Rangers and Chicago Blackhawks, won 2 Stanley Cups, became a USHHOF and American Indian Hall of Fame member. From 1934 to 1964, he coached and mentored youth in hockey. And whereas the National Hockey League and USA Hockey have been asked to formally honor patriotic Native American Taffy Abel, neither has done so. At the bequest of the NHL and with considerable lobbying, the U.S. Congress honored the first NHL African American in 2022 with a prestigious Congressional Gold Medal. While honoring the first African American in the NHL Commissioner and Board of Governors had refused to formally honor the first Native American in the NHL and the Olympics. Therefore, I, Don Gary, Mayor of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, do hereby attest my full support proclaiming January 25th, 2024, Taffy Abel's Winter Olympic Centennial, and I encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of honoring Native American history. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Sault Ste. Marie to be affixed this 25th day of January 2024. Donald J. Gary, Mayor. And we were able to supply that on time to the family in Florida. So thank you very much. Item C is public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of our scheduled agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move right into item D, which is the consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of January 15th, 2024. Item 2, acceptance of the Airport Advisory Board meeting minutes of December 14th. Item 3, acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and Tax Increment Finance Authority 3 meeting minutes of December 12th. Item 4, acceptance of the Historical Development Commission meeting minutes of November 8th. Item 5, acceptance of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting minutes of November 28th. Item 6, acceptance of the Police and Fire Pension Board meeting minutes of December 13th. Item 7, acceptance of the Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission meeting minutes of December 21st. Item 8 is resignation of Amy Gates from the Downtown Development Authority effective January 22 of 2024. Item 9 is resignation of Tammy Bumstead from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective January 19th, 2024. Item 10 is scheduling of a public hearing for the February 19, 2024 City Commission meeting to consider the adoption of a resolution vacating the full width of East 10th Avenue between Block B and Block C, Everett and Everlands subdivision with retention of utility easements. Item 11 is consideration to approve a grant application for Eagle Community Technical, Managerial, and Finance support for lead line replacement. Item 12 is consideration of amended uniform guidance policies, federal awards, policies, and procedures. Item 13 is consideration of Smart Zone lease agreement with Nikki Dowd McKechnie. Item 14, consideration of Smart Zone lease with Team Systems for object detection. Item 15 is consideration of Smart Zone lease with EUP Regional Planning and Development Commission. And item 16 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. I guess the holiday lull is over, eh? 16 items. Would any commissioner like any of these items further explained or removed for individual consideration? Commissioner Gage.
Just wanted to note and say thank you to Amy Gates for her service to the DDA board, and she's been a great community partner, a great community leader, and it's sad to see her go, but I think from reading her letter, it sounds like she's on the Board of Education now, which is taking up a considerable amount of time, certainly, so just wanted to say thank you, and I guess I'll move support for the entire consent agenda.
All right, thank you. It's been moved,
Support.
moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Move into item F, which is communications. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as an FYI, included in this item is this year's budget schedule for the commission review. In the item lists all the different due dates the staff has to get certain tasks done by. More importantly for the commission is near the end of it where our special meetings are going to be posted for the commission to review the budget. April 16th, City Commission will read, April 15th, the budget will be presented to the commission during our regular scheduled commission meeting. April 16th, we'll hold a special commission meeting to review the budget. Typically, we do have a second date scheduled. We haven't used it in the last couple of years, but if we need one, we'll have another one there. April 22nd, there'll be a special city commission meeting to reconcile the budget. If needed, we haven't used that one in the last couple of years either. Proposed budget will be to the commission during our regular meeting on May 6th, and then the public hearing to approve the budget on May 20th. So just an FYI on these dates, we'll get those meetings, those special meetings on your calendars.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions on that item? Commissioner Gage.
Just, I know that there's not going to be necessarily a ton of impact we can have on it, but one of the things I've thought about when I was looking at the agenda here, or the schedule, is I know that we kind of talked about doing another goal-setting meeting and that kind of stuff. I'm wondering maybe if it might be helpful to do that along with and maybe at the same time, right before when we do the city budget work session. I know there's not going to be a lot of wiggle room in the budget, certainly, but if we get our goals set, then that can kind of help maybe inform additional budget decisions.
I think we can do something. We've tried scheduling it a while. We tried scheduling last year. We just couldn't find a date for the commission to work. I think at one point we talked about maybe a Sunday afternoon and try to get everybody so that everybody can participate with everybody's different work schedules. I'll follow up with the commission tomorrow and see what kind of dates will work for us. I think we can still do a kind of a goal session. It wouldn't have too much of an impact on the budget. A lot of the stuff, goal-wise, will take time to develop anyway, so we'll be moving forward next year, but I'll follow up with the commission tomorrow.
Thanks, good question. Any others? All right, we will move on into item G, business items. Number 1, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a request to approve a bid to Berger and King Inc. of Escanaba for boiler replacements at the Polar Building. We did have this budgeted as a project in this current fiscal year on the CIP. The project is $250,000. We bid it out. We received a couple of different bids back. We are recommending the low bid for $187,568 with Berger and King Inc. So we look for a motion to approve the bids as presented.
Thank you, city manager. Does anybody have any questions for city manager on this item or DPW director Barron? Commissioner Rubenstein.
The electrical work on the low bid seemed really low. Is there just a way we could get a little clarification on what all goes into that?
Tyler, you want to come up?
Good evening, Tyler.
Evening. Is this on? Lights on. The electrical upgrades are just for the controls. Everything's all there. So it's just minor, or not minor, but upgrades to the existing controls that are in the basement.
Thank you.
Any other questions while he's here? Nope. Commissioner Bauer, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I did have a comment
Okay,
too.
sure.
Considering that these folks, and I know they're from Escanaba and what, but they did beat out a local firm. They did it by underbidding them by like over $50,000, which is a significant amount of money. That said, though, I'm sure we'll all be interested to see if there are any change orders during this project, but $50,000 worth, I would highly doubt that. So, that said, so move the city manager's recommendation to award this bid to the low bidder, Berger and King.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. G, business items, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to award a bid for the ferric chloride used at the wastewater treatment plant. We bid this out. We received several bids back. We are recommending, oh shoot, who are we recommending? I can't find it. Yeah, we're Haviland, sorry. We're recommending awarding the bid to Haviland as they're the low bidder for the material that we use, the ferric chloride. So we look for a motion to award it as presented.
Thanks, City Manager. Any questions, comments for City Manager? Commissioner Vaz's Wrath, would you like to make that motion?
Absolutely.
one.
I know. I'm kind of. Motion to award the award to Haviland for the purchase of ferric chloride used in the WWTP as described.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion also passed unanimously. Under G, business items, number 3, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to approve a contract with MDOT for work associated with Salmon Runway and Ord Street. The commission may recall that during our budget gap with the Carbide Dock project, we went out and found some different grant sources. This is for a category A through MDOT. Because the grant required us to pull that part of the project out from the original bid award that we did about a year or so ago. We had to rebid this scope of work, to which we did, and we are making a recommendation of moving forward with Payne and Dolan. Included in this item is also a budget adjustment to cover the reduced funding of $102,000 coming from the gaming fund. So motion to approve and award Payne and Dolan as the low bidder for the amount $824,732.10 for construction of Salmon Runway and Ord Street, and then motion to amend the budget as presented.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments on this individual item? Commissioner Rubenstein, would you like to make these motions?
Motion to approve of award to Payne and Dolan, the low bidder, in the amount of $824,732.10, and allow the city manager to sign.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Rubenstein.
Motion to amend budget with reduction in MDOT Category A grant funding by $151,800 with local match from previously budgeted city ARPA funds and increase to cover internal loan interest in the amount of $102,000 to come from gaming fund.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both motions passed unanimously. Item G, business items. Number 4, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is approval of a letter of agreement between the city and the United States Army Corps of Engineers to renew the lease for the property we currently lease for Rotary Island, as well as a budget amendment for the parks contracted services by $9,500. With the work associated with Rotary Park for the new pavilion and the bathrooms, there's a process now through Army Corps of Engineers where we have to renew some of the documents to do some projects on that property. There is a fee associated now with every time that we have to do any document work for the leases. The full lease is kind of coming up relatively soon, so instead of spending $9,500 or a little bit less right now and then another $9,500 in a couple of years, we're just going to do the whole thing right now and just do it under one fee. So the letter of agreement will allow us to put in place a new lease with the Army Corps of Engineers for the properties that we currently lease as well, and then the budget amount will pay for the fees associated with that paperwork. So 2 motions, motion to approve letter of agreement and motion to increase the budget.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Gage.
I just wanted to note that it's nice that we're doing this now and we won't have to worry about it again for another 25 years. It's a substantial amount of time, I thought, so. Motion to approve the letter agreement with our U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and authorize city manager to sign.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Gage.
Motion to increase the budget for the Parks and Rec contracted services by $9,500.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Moving on, G, business items, number 5, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next, just for commission discussion, are kind of the results from the residential and recycling survey that we sent out. Included in your packet is the Survey Monkey graphs that show the responses, as well as the comments from the open-ended. I think there was about, 19 pages worth of comments that we received in there. So kind of what we're looking for tonight is just a little bit of direction from the commission on what you want us to pursue moving forward. If you recall, with the refuse and recycling contract from GFL, about a month or so ago, we put in a 1-year extension. Shortly before that, there was some conversation from GFL about possibly switching our tag system to an automated system. If it went to an automated system, you couldn't necessarily do the tag structure anymore. The only way we'd really be able to recoup any costs from it is to add a refuse and recycling fee onto the tax bill. The survey kind of came out just to see what people are thinking in terms of the services. We had 519 different responses. What?
Can you throw it up?
Huh?
Can you
Oh,
throw it up on there?
yeah, sorry. Thank you, Bonnie. Thought you were trying to knock.
You throw up.
Yeah, sorry. So we do have the results here for you. We had 519 different respondents. 92% of them were property owners. The one thing I just want to say is that with any kind of online survey, there's not a lot of control in terms of who takes it. There could be some instances where a spouse or 2 spouses in the same household may have taken it. So just kind of keep in mind some of those biases there. Residential household size, most part, we got 2-person there. Just kind of scroll down. We asked them what kind of tags they currently use. Most people are using the red 32-gallon tags. How much are you currently spending on residential refuse? roughly 66%, about 2/3 of them are spending $20 or less a month on the tags. Looks like it's pretty neck and neck with people spending less than $10 or in between $10 and $20 a month. Overall satisfaction for the current refuse tag systems kind of spread out. Ranges from 25% very good, 22% good, 29% fair, 22% poor. I think if you dug through some of the comments, you can kind of get a feel for some of the poor comments there. We asked people, are they recycling currently? Most people are recycling. 79.77% say they are recycling within their house. Most people are doing the self-drop-off over at the Northern Transitions building. Not a lot of people are using the totes or the gallons at this point. Are you a residential property taxpayer? Yes, most people are. Then we kind of get into the meat of it. Would you prefer to see an annual fee added on your residential tax bill for refuse pickup? 41% said yes, 58% said no. If you kind of dug in through some of the comments, again, there was a lot of them. There was some people that stated they said no, but it depended on the price, just because we didn't have an idea on what the cost could be right now. Most people were saying no, and it kind of depended on the price. So it's kind of the split there. Again, the additional comments that we have, we're not going to go through all of them. It's in your packet. If you can get your magnifying glass out and read some of these things, they're some of them are pretty informative, and some of them are a little grumpy. But that's the results. So again, you know, we're at a point with GFL. GFL would like to switch the current system in which they're picking up the garbage. They want to get away from tags. There are, we could still do a tag option. In talking to GFL, he's not sure how much longer we could still do a tag, so maybe another contract extension. At a certain point, it may come down to having to switch to automated. From GFL's perspective, switching to an automated system helps them with their staffing and recruitment. There's some other benefits to their organization by not having a person hop in, hop out of the truck, have to lift the heavy containers. The automated systems are the trucks with the robotic arms that go out, pick it up, scoop it right in. I mean, it helps them with their workers' comp claims. There's a reduction in there. I would say for us, I'm not sure if there's a huge benefit for it. One way or another, our garbage is going to get picked up, but that's kind of the angle that GFL is coming at, is it would help out their organization. So I guess just wanting to throw this out in front of the commission a little bit, there's a couple of different options. We can go back to GFL and see if we can do a tag system. I would say the price of the tags, what they're at right now, wouldn't be any lower. So where we're at, what was it, 2 something, Robin, off the top of your head, something like that. That would probably be the base point, and then it would only increase year after year. We don't have a good idea on a cost estimate to have an automated system. All that stuff was with GFL and the tags. We just don't have that kind of data. I would say process-wise, if the commission wants us to bid this out through an RFP, we'd have to do it sooner rather than later. If there is the desire to go to an automated system with the 1-year extension that we've signed with GFL, that gives us enough time to put everything in place, add the fee onto the tax bill, have the funds coming in. It would be on your winter tax bill, so December-ish. That would get us the money coming in to be able to start the program February 2024. So we have some time. We just kind of want to get ahead of this sooner rather than later. The one comment I would say is that there is only one company in town that does this. I don't know if it makes sense to do an RFP. If the commission chooses to, we'd be more than happy to do it. There's an option that we waive that process and you allow Robin and I just work directly with GFL on some options and get some prices and bring it back to the commission for consideration. So it's kind of looking for a little bit of direction. If the commission wants more information of some sorts, we'd be happy to take it back and bring back that information at the next meeting where the commission may want. but just looking for a little bit of direction.
Thanks, city manager. So we'll open up to comments. Commissioner Rubenstein.
I guess in that scenario, if we waive the process of an RFP and had you both go work with GFL, would you be able to? It just feels really hard to give any direction without any sense of what the automated
Yeah,
process would cost. Like, there's no.
and I get that, and we just don't have those numbers. I mean, that's part of it too. I can make something up, but
So that's the question. If we go that route, would you then be able to come back and say, okay, if we went with the tag system, here's how it's going to go up. If you go to automated, here's a general idea of what we'd be looking at.
yes.
Mr. Bauer.
Yeah, I have several thoughts on this. Number one is that I think that any change, I mean, that price is gonna have to go up anyway, because how much lower can it go? If it's $2.09, if it's $2.09 for the red, right? I mean, what's it gonna get down to, $1.92? And then we're all gonna be there, oh, great, we saved 17 cents. I mean, you know,
Right.
that's, I mean, I realize 17 cents is 17 cents. But still, I mean, I just don't see it getting any lower. I think you're gonna see it increase. The other thing is that if you do automate, and if you get to a point where you can't do tags, then what incentive do people have then to keep their garbage can trips or what to a minimum? You know what I'm saying? Take my wife and I, and in the wintertime, we'll put out one can every other week. In the summer, every week. Well, if it's, you know, and then you're saving a couple of bucks, it's not just 17 cents, right?
Right.
So if there's no incentive then to hold back on that because you're not counting the tags, which I assume is the whole point of this, right? Then why wouldn't anybody put out cans as much as they want and all the time, which creates more work for GFL, which drives the prices up, even if it is automated. And it's gonna take them more time to do it, you know? And I'm just saying, if people did that, because I believe that once you're no longer incentivized to keep your garbage output down, then why not? And I don't think I'm alone, personally.
Right.
Commissioner Marvel. Whoops, sorry.
Sorry, I just want to say one other thing.
Sure.
In case I didn't make it plainly clear, you know, I would like to see things continue the way they are. I know that if GFL, if their minds are set on changing it because they're the only firm out there that can evidently do this, that is local right now, I mean, I don't know what else we're gonna do about it. But I'm just saying that from where I stand as a consumer, I think that it's a good system right now, and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, the numbers here show that not everybody is happy. Some people think the system is bad. I don't know what their problem is with it. I guess I should have read the comments further, but anyway, I think the system is a good system presently, but I know, I guess that it can't really stay the way it is according to GFL.
Commissioner Marvel.
I want to just say that I agree with Commissioner Bauer 100%. I think that the system that we have now is probably the best system that we have for our community, because it's basically like with me, I put out a garbage can every other week instead of putting it out, every week. I could put out, 2 or 3 a week, but to conserve back, I put out 1. So I totally 100% agree with you, Commissioner Bauer.
Commissioner Gage.
I'll speak, I guess, for the other side a little bit and say that I have a personal opinion on this, but then I also have a commission opinion on this. My personal opinion on it is I hate the tags. I think they're annoying and a pain, and I personally don't like using them because it's just annoying. It's Thursday night or Wednesday night, and you forget that you don't have any, so you got to go do the 10 p.m. run to Glenn's, and I get that, or not Glenn's, it's Pat's, whatever. So that's my personal opinion on it. I find that annoying.
Go on your shopping list, man.
I know, your shopping list, and I can do that and all that stuff, but busy guy. But it's hard, looking at a survey that says 60-40, getting 60-40 on any sort of a discussion. I mean, that's pretty clear what people are saying to us. So certainly, while I have a personal opinion, as somebody who represents the community, which is what my job is to do here, I'm going to side with what the community is asking us to do. I will just note though, that if Commissioner Bauer, if we could put out more garbage and you're conserving it, I hope you throw away all the garbage you have and you're not hoarding it somewhere and hiding it to conserve tags. If you've got trash, just throw it out. That's my personal advice. That's just me.
I just want to piggyback off that really quick. So
What, can I address that one thing?
Let city manager make his comment here.
It's not that as much as how many times you're dragging the can to the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can put a can with one bag in it or two bags in it to the street, or you can wait and put that third bag in and then take it to the street.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
City manager?
just kind of piggybacking off of what Commissioner Gage said, I do want to just kind of throw out this observation. So some of the staff members and I have talked about this. We do feel that at a certain point, there may be some lower income families that may be making a choice not to necessarily buy the tags. And if there was a more open system where they weren't purchasing those tags, they may be more inclined to throw away a lot of the stuff. Just for example, Fire Chief Miller and I were out in a structure a couple weeks ago. Chief Miller brought me out there on purpose to show me what our fire department routinely deals with. And the one house had a lot of trash built up in the basement. And I'm talking bags and bags and bags to where you could not get around this structure because there was so much. Now, I have no valid way of saying that if they didn't have to buy tags, they would have thrown more out. I can't necessarily state that, but from a staff observation point, the people that do the inspections on rentals or the code enforcement issues on rentals or houses, we do feel that maybe if there was a automated system and a more robust refuse garbage program, those houses may be more inclined to utilize those services. But that's just purely observation. I have no scientific or valid way of confirming that or not. That's just an observation point from staff and I.
Commissioner Basbos-Rath. Were you done? Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I wish, and I know it's a survey, but I look at the survey, in total it's 519. That's not that many people. Like, I wish it would have been higher for something that affects everybody in the community. But nor here nor there. I personally don't mind the tags, but I'm not the one. My husband goes out and buys them, so I'm kind of biased there. Now, for the garbage can, you know, winter time, you don't have to put out so much. Summertime, we usually put out more. I think I would like to see numbers, because we're talking about something that we have no numbers on. The cost, say, you know, some of these comments in the survey were saying, you know, I'm a single person and I'm gonna pay as much as somebody with 5 people in the home. So I guess I would wanna, I'm curious to see, is it gonna be kind of scaled to your household? Maybe, you know, somebody, a single person versus a family of 4 or a family of 5. How would that, I would like to see numbers on that before I say yes or no to tags, because I think eventually GFL is gonna say, we're no longer doing tags, and now we're stuck with that decision. So to me, I would want city manager to give us some numbers and talk to GFL for how they're thinking, how that would go.
Commissioner Bauer.
One more comment, or actually in 2 parts. Number one is that regardless of how much money GFL saves on automating versus not automating, it does not affect us as consumers. We shouldn't even really care about that, you know what I mean? If we sign on with GFL or whomever we sign on with for the future, I think that part of that contract should be some sort of a cap where they cannot, you know, have rate hikes that are too exorbitant, you know. That's number one. And number two is then that way, that fee is going to be what it is and hopefully limited to how high it can go to the consumer. And meanwhile, it can be up to them to figure out, the most profitable way to run their business, which is the way business should be to begin with. So, as long as we keep a lid on things, it really shouldn't matter one way or the other to us, whether GFL is cutting their costs and, becoming more profitable or not.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
I just wanted to respond to Commissioner Gage. One, personally, I also agree. I can't stand the tag system, and having lived in multiple cities where it's just on our tax bill, it is way more convenient by a mile. But just to respond to your comment on the survey, I think we all have to be careful when we look at the survey, because just like it's hard for us to make a recommendation, it's kind of hard to fill out the survey without that data as well. I'm sure if the info came back and said, all right, for the majority of people, it's going to be a push, it's not going to cost less. But let's say it was even a push, I bet you we would see a 60-40 swing, if not greater, the other way. It's saying, hey, it's going to cost the same, but I can just bring out as much as I want.
Anybody else? Commissioner Gage.
So if are we to motion, or do you want a motion?
No,
or
I
do you
think
want
he's just looking for information. I had a
discussion?
couple comments before we.
Okay, well then I guess, if it's summing it up, I would recommend, I think that I trust certainly city manager and deputy city manager to advocate for our best interests with GFL. I think it sounds like, I don't like the tags, but I think that obviously the community does, so I would recommend doing what we can to preserve those and see if we can get numbers back that show what the automation will cost us. So that's my sum up points for you.
And I agree with a lot of the comments that were said, and I don't think we have enough information to really put together an informed decision. I think the automation is good. I think the cans are great. I've had one for a long time, and I see how they operate. But we cannot take away the opportunities for people that only put out one can a month or biweekly to keep their bill at a manageable level. So some way, somehow, we have to make sure that we protect seniors and families that, that don't use that much trash. I'm not in favor of a one number fits every family, because we go through a heck of a lot more garbage than I'm sure some others do. So I don't think that's fair. So I think we need more information from GFL as to how they see this working in the future. I don't have a problem with automation. I don't have a problem with moving forward. And I think, if you look at the comments and you read through all of them, people's concerns and I think their desire for the tags are so that they can limit the amount of money that they have to pay for the garbage pickup. I don't think they'd have a problem with automation or a different type of billing if they could control their own consumption. So, and I think that that was pretty clear in a lot of the comments. So, any other comments? I think we need more information.
So
Talk to GFL, see what type of system they are looking at for the future, see what automation, and, to Commissioner Bauer's point, obviously, if they have a system that costs them less, then they can pass that lower cost to the consumer, so see what we can look at.
is the commission okay with working directly with GFL and not necessarily doing an RFP for the service?
I don't know of any other garbage companies in the UP that would, or in northern lower Michigan. Are there any? Do we know of any? Not in Canada. GFL came from Canada, so.
And they can't take garbage
Yeah.
across the border. or anything
No,
like that.
but companies that would.
Not legally.
And there's,
Smith was a startup from Rudyard, and now they are GFL.
Now they are
so
GFL,
Waste
and they're-
Management is GFL. There are no other companies.
there are other companies downstate, but the chances of them trying to get into this market are very, very slim. The Republics, the Waste Management's, the other ones probably are just not gonna come in, so.
And GFL owns the Dafter landfill, so they would have nowhere to haul it.
And that's what, we're kind of at staff and I, we're kind of at a point, just, we can't necessarily work with GFL if we have to bid it out, because then we'd be doing something that would be preempting a bid. So if there's an agreement that we can work with GFL directly at least, then we should probably have just a motion just to direct us to work with GFL.
So
Is that
moved.
sole source that would be unanimous in nature then? Authorizing you to,
Yes,
okay,
of the people in presence, yes.
okay.
Support.
So the motion? So a motion to solely use GFL, not use the bid process, and support. Any questions, comments? Let's do a roll call, just so we have it on record, please. Sorry.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. We'll negotiate with GFL and get the best rates for the public. All right, moving on. G, business items, number 6. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is the update to the user fee schedule for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, or January 1, 2024 for summer season fees. In your agenda is the draft fee schedule. Anything that was changed is highlighted yellow with an X in the far right column. For the most part, there was some adjustments made, basically just based on costs going up. There are some items that were moved from one department to another department, just for clarity purposes. But I would say there's nothing really crazy within the fee schedule in terms of any kind of increases. So we would look for a motion to approve the draft as presented.
So I'm assuming the changes in ambulance fees are the ones that are we still using that company that negotiates with Blue Cross for assistance in our billing?
Acumed does.
So those are recommended, those are
Yes. And they're,
fees that are commensurate with what insurance will pay? Yeah, okay. Any other questions on the fee schedule? Commissioner Marble, would you like to make a motion?
Sure would, thank you. Motion to approve the user fee schedule for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, or January 1st, 2024 for the summer season fees.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Question.
Sure.
We're gonna start charging parking on the grounds of the Valley Camp?
Nice. Motion passed unanimously. You mean upside down parking? Moving on. G, business items number 7. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is a reconsideration of the deficit elimination plan that we presented to you last meeting, 2 meetings ago. After the commission approved it, we did submit it. It came back with having some issues that they wanted us to work out. Director Collins did put together a new plan that shows the deficit being eliminated. The sources and use and budget sheets included in your item or in your agenda item. If there's no questions, we would look for a motion to approve the resolution to eliminate the 6/30/23 deficit in the capital projects fund in the amount of $3,401.99 or $995, not cents, dollars. Thank you. And again, it's a couple of projects. The deficit's largely the carbide dock, so.
Any questions on this item for City Manager Chapman or Finance Director Collins? Commissioner Baspas Rath, would you like to make that motion?
Absolutely. Motion to approve the resolution to eliminate the 6/30/23 deficit in the capital projects fund in the amount of $3,401,995.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Finance Director. Moving on into G, business items number 8. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is request to transfer some land over by the Carbide property to the Lake Superior State University for their CFRE. If you recall, back in October, Dr. Morkey came and presented the concept that they were working on with the CFRE in terms of future research amenities. In order to accommodate that, they need a little bit of a chunk of land kind of on the south side of the property. Included in your agenda item is the survey that kind of highlights the small piece of property that's going to be deeded over them if the commission approves it tonight. Dr. Morkey is here if you have any questions, but we would look for a motion to authorize the documents to be signed for the transfer of the property to LSSU.
Thank you very much, City Manager, and thank you, Dr. Murphy, for being here, and also Scott Smith. Appreciate you being here. Do you want to make any comments before we deliberate this property deal? You're welcome to, but you don't have to. Okay. All right, all right. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Just a quick note that I will need to abstain as I'm an employee of Lake Superior State University.
Okay, you can abstain. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Commissioner Bauer, would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I would. So move that we authorize the mayor and deputy city manager to sign the documents necessary to transfer the property in question to the ownership of Lake Superior State University.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? We should probably do a roll call since we have one abstention in the audience.
Mayor
Please.
Derry,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
and an abstain from Commissioner Rubenstein.
Thank you very much. Motion passes 5-4 and 5 positive and 1 abstention, or whatever you want to, 5 yes. Congratulations on your new piece of property. Look forward to seeing the construction, further construction. Under G, business items, number 9, we are on now, City Manager Chapman. Joe's got the,
Bottom of the barrel.
yeah.
Sorry. Up next for commission consideration is a request from Dial-A-Ride. This is their annual process in which they get approvals from the commission in order to submit it to MDOT, correct? MDOT. So we have 3 motions in this one: motion to accept the operating plan, motion to approve the proposed budget, and motion to approve the resolution of intent to apply for financial assistance. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Troy for a little bit more background information.
Evening, Troy.
Yes. Hi. Yes, we are asking for $90,000 for fiscal year '25 so that we can operate 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. We currently operate Monday through Saturday thanks to you guys' provisions. We were able to open up this last Saturday through I-500, and we have several thankful riders for that, and we get to continue to do that till September 30th, so that's awesome. Some updates for you. State funding went up to 40% from about 33%. Federal went down from 36 to about 18, back to the pre-COVID funding time frame. And our operations are 6:30 a.m. Till 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. And our fare, there's no change to our fare structures for this coming year. So, yeah, should be about similar, very similar to this year, except now we have our Saturdays back.
Anybody have any questions for?
No? Right on.
Perfect.
All right.
So just a reminder for the commission, this one has 3 motions. Motion to accept the operating plan, motion to approve the proposed budget, motion to approve resolution for intent to apply for financial assistance.
Mr. Rubenstein.
I believe I need to abstain from this one as well, since I'm on the Community Action Board
Just a go-getter.
and not making comments.
You just didn't want to make the long 4 motions, 3 motions. All right, so any other questions or comments? Commissioner Gage?
You ready for some motions?
Sure.
I motion to accept the operating plan for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
With 1 extension, passed.
And then.
Commissioner Gage?
Motion to approve the proposed budget for Dial-A-Ride of $410,254 in proposed revenue, and the same number for expenses to 2025 fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024.
Support.
Motion and support. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And then
Motion
motion to,
passed 5 with 1 extension.
sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Gage.
Motion to approve a resolution of intent to apply for financial assistance for the fiscal year 2025, all that good stuff, under Act 51 of Public Acts 1951, and authorizing the application of the state financial assistance and appointing Troy Earls and Joe Nolan as the transportation coordinator for all public transportation matters.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments?
I'm just gonna say manager's recommendation next time. That's easy.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed 5 yes, 1 abstention. Thank you very much, Troy. Appreciate it. Thanks, Joe. All right, moving on into G business items, number 10, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission considerations, request to go into closed session pursuant to Section 8C of State of Michigan Open Meetings Act for discussions connected to negotiating collective bargain agreements. We will not be making any decisions after the closed session, so there will be no need to come back into open session.
All right, Commissioner Marble, would you like to make the motion?
Motion to a closed session.
Your support?
Support.
Been moved and supported that we enter into closed session at the close of this meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. So we will be going into closed session at the end of this meeting. So we'll move on into H, City Manager announcements and updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things for the commission tonight. The sled and ski hill with the early spring that we're having or never had winter, we won't be opening the sled and ski hill this year. Yeah, the weather just doesn't look like it's forecasted out to be able to do it, so we're pulling the plug on it. If there's anybody that has pre-purchased season passes, they can come back to City Hall. We'll offer out refunds for that. Kane's Rink is still holding in there. We'll see what the next couple of nights are. There are some tournaments coming up, so we've kind of got those spaces reserved. We're going to hope that the tournaments happen, but we'll just kind of see. And then last but not least, you probably saw the announcements. This is usually a sure sign of spring coming down in the engineering department, but the load limits have been put on the roads as of last Friday, February 2nd. So spring is here. Yep, you're welcome, because I want the snow and ice, so.
So if we get a good freeze back, then the load limits could be in place for a few months, eh? Is that? Okay,
In theory.
yeah. What were they, 2-3 weeks last year? 3?
2-3 weeks safe?
Last year? Okay. Well, I guess the good news is if you get a permit, the value is better this year because it might last a long time. So any questions for city manager on his update?
I guess
Commissioner Gage?
my question is, I guess, you know, given that we have so little snow, we must be doing decent on our snow removal budget. I mean, have we even hit it, even a little bit of it, or do you have any idea where we're at with it?
I mean, we've used a little bit of it. There's still some funds that we haven't touched into. You know, I can't give you an answer off the top of my head, but
You still got to staff them, though.
yeah, we still got to staff them. I guess the one downside is we're not necessarily having reimbursements coming in from the state for certain things. But, you know, the biggest thing is the supervisors are finding things for the guys to do. We do have the hot box out and filling some potholes, actually.
Okay.
They're out doing some other projects, just trying to do some loose ends, trying to get ready for springtime type of activities, so.
The city manager mentioned too, what is the, do you know what the inches are that we have to meet before we get state reimbursement? So we're actually gonna end up, it's kind of like a double negative, because we're not gonna hit those numbers this year. It's like
Tyler-
80 inches or something, isn't it?
Kristen? Tyler? Kristen?
Okay. But we have to hit a magic number before we get the reimbursement, so if we don't hit that, then it's all for naught, so.
But we haven't bought a lot of plow.
Good news and bad
blades,
news, yeah.
So, salt usage is good.
All
We
right,
got a
any
lot
other
of winter left.
questions?
Yeah.
I said we got a lot of winter left
Yeah, we
before
do.
we start getting.
Yeah, so
We
we're
do.
not putting things away yet.
Don't get cocky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not putting them away.
For sure. All right, moving into item I, which is matters presented by the public. Does anybody in the audience, besides Linda Hoth, have anything to say? No. Do you want to go first or last? I see we're up, but, yeah. Yeah, sure, come on up. If you'd introduce yourself for the record, please.
My name's Paul Andary, and I'm a supporter of the Puller Stadium. And congratulations, Jay, being on the board. I'm going to ask the question that Commissioner Shane Miller would ask. How are we coming with the installation of the exhaust hood for the concession stand?
So the hood was bid out a while ago, costs came back super high. Director Perrin has worked with UPEA to come up with a Plan B, which is essentially a lot of electric hoodless equipment, is kind of how you'd categorize them. Those bids, which is a lot more electrical work than what's anticipated, they've been reworked. Those bids actually go out this Friday, and they have about a 3-week, 2-week window, somewhere around there. So this Friday, the 9th, a couple weeks there, we should have the bids back beginning of March, and then be able to move forward that way.
Okay, actually, you had a bid letting that came in November, correct?
Correct,
And nobody bid it.
correct.
Okay. This has went on for 5 years now, and I don't know what the drawback is, but here are 2 bids from contractors. There's one here for each city commissioner and the mayor. And maybe it's time to do something on them. And basically what needs to happen is, since it's going to be a removal of the existing hood, there has to be an engineered drawing submitted to the state, which in the last bid that you got from UP Architects and Engineers, they have an engineered drawing, but possibly the village manager could tell me why our equipment wasn't spec for it. It was for additional equipment.
I'm sorry, hold on a second.
We want to make sure we look at, we all got, we only got one?
We only got one, yeah.
He needs the Rob's.
Here, Jay, take that one. Here's one that says estimate. That one, hand that one to Andrew. Everybody got one with a big S, and everybody got one with a big estimate on it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was your question?
The last bid that you had on November 9th, okay, 5 years ago, the Sioux Eagle supplied equipment that's on a trailer in the warehouse down at the city garage. Why wasn't that spec'd for the installation?
So, we've been through this a few times. The hood that was originally purchased by the Eagles would not work the way that area is designed. So we did try to incorporate that hood, but the cost came back too high. So
Which is
we've
not-
been through this process 4 or 5 times to where we have bid it, scrapped it, redesigned it, bid it, scrapped it, and came up with different plans.
And why wouldn't the hood work?
Tyler, you want to help me out specifically? Or even Ed specifically, one of you guys?
The hood that was purchased by the Eagles, I don't believe had a makeup air unit, so additional equipment needed to be purchased for that. And the space just wasn't right for that. So we tried reaching out to that manufacturer, we gave them all the information from that equipment that was purchased, that went to the engineer at UPA. They had that information, and they decided that it
And we've worked with Bruno. Bruno has asked us to look at a couple contractors to try to see if what they purchased went in there. The contractors that came up from Traverse City said that that's not the right one, it's not gonna work in there. So we've been working on this with what they purchased. It's just not gonna work. So we've thrown out
The
different
contractor
options.
that they asked to come up for Traverse City is one of the installation bids that you have in your hands. So obviously the hood will work. And Tyler, it does have a makeup air unit, doesn't it? No. Yeah, it does. Anyway, we had two mechanical engineers look at it. I would assume they're qualified. They work for Consumers Power and DTE. And the equipment that is sitting on the trailer actually exceeds the bid requirements of November 9th. And I get the same argument all the time, and it's past that. It's time to put it in.
So where were these people when the bids were out? Why did these people bid on what was bid out? We bid this 3 or 4
Well,
times.
it might have to do with the privacy fence that you had around the equipment, the wood slatted stuff. Normally, you just put a chain link fence. They don't do that kind of work. I'm
So-
asking you to direct somebody within the city to contact them and get this thing moving. Like I said, you already have an engineered drawing. It's just a matter of supplanting the Eagles equipment into the equipment that they previously had.
So what's the bid that's going out Friday? Is it
The
the
bid that's,
same bid that was let in November that these firms might be qualified for?
no, so the bid that went out in November, incorporated the hoods and gas appliances. We got no bids on that one. To keep the costs down low, we've discussed this with the commission, switching to electric appliances that don't need the air intake exchange, the suppression system and all that stuff. You still need some of that stuff, but it's a different way of doing it. It's more electrical work than anything else. But we didn't get any bids back the last time we bid this out. So we're trying something different, trying to get this done.
You have the equipment on site. It's just a matter of getting it installed.
The bid prior in 2021 had that equipment spec'd out on it. It was to install that equipment that the Eagles provided, or new equipment, and that bid came back at $150,000.
Well, you have two bids in your hands, one for 70-some thousand, one for 40,000.
Well, we appreciate the information, and certainly, I think you will take a look at this information and see if these are obviously not valid quotes for the city, but I don't know if they're
No, they're not.
uh,
They are
companies
valid
that would
quotes.
have an interest in being able to complete this project. Certainly something we'll need to look into.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul, appreciate it. Thanks, Bruno, for coming too. Anybody else have any public comments? Linda Hoth.
Good meeting tonight,
Good
guys.
evening.
I want to say, first of all, thanks to the city. Thank you for everything. You know, it was a very busy week last week. First on Thursday night, I had the Great Lakes Sports Commission in. They were up at the 500 track, and you know how they gave us the $150,000. And then on Friday night, the city, all of you, thank you. And I know you guys had to work because we had a lot of people in town. Thank you. I said it was great. But Friday evening, I have to say thank you to the community, to everybody who attended, who came. A big thank you to the Sioux Tribe the board of directors who put on a dinner, because we had 16 legislators in town. We've not seen that, not in the 21 years that I've been here. And I can tell you we had one representative from Speaker Tate's office on top of that, and 9 MEDC people. It was absolutely fabulous. It was a wonderful evening where we could pay tribute to Dave Lorenz, who has been with us for the last 21 years for Pure Michigan, when they did a special tribute to him. And then the Sioux Tribe during the dinner, and it kind of choked me up as they gave him a blanket and put around him. I said, Dave has been such a big supporter of the UP. You know, the 16 legislators, I was total shocked that we've got that many, because last year we had 5. So it was just amazing. It was an amazing evening. I was able to present, you know, what we want to do up the I-500 track, because OHM came through and we had some renditions that we could put up. And I'm going to tell you, there's another great, hey, Dave, thank you for all your help, because I couldn't do it without him. So you guys know that Dave is amazing. If he's every 2 weeks he's on that call with us. So I am not an engineer, I'm a marketer. That's what I do well. But kudos to Dave. But I want to let you know that it was amazing. Those legislators ended up spending the second night here also. They went to the I-500 track. I want to thank the volunteers at the I-500, the board of directors of the I-500. They did a fabulous job this year. Fabulous job. It was amazing. The parking garage people got it set up ahead of time. I paid for their parking, got them in, and got them out very quickly. It was wonderful. But a lot of them didn't go. We got to take them down on the track. They helped hold the U.S. flag. We had our Canadian mayor with us, and some of the MEDC people down there also. So, I mean, it was just an absolutely beautiful evening, morning. And then to see the people. I sent a text to Dave Thomas today, and right now the count is at 6,250 people, and they're not completed with the count yet. I have a gentleman from Pure Michigan that's up here. He's the director of all the digital media. And let me grab hold of his email really quick here. Nick, he's like bourbon, only Nurbin. He said they put out, on Saturday morning, they put out a post on the Pure Michigan site, and it reached 163,000 people. It received 1,300 likes, 134 comments, and 221 shares. That's just in a very short time on Saturday morning. So it was a very successful weekend for all of us. It is an amazing thing, and this community is amazing. I want to tell you one story, and then I'm going to be done, okay? One of the legislators, I was at the end of the day, and by the way, my dad did come up for the afternoon, and he was able to talk to the legislators too and tell them stories of the beginning. So it was really good. But he came up to me, and he said to me, how do you guys work so well in this region? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you support each other. I said, you've all been at all these different places as we went through on Friday and the different things that we did. We were all together. And I said, it's just a great community, and we have a lot of great people doing great things. He said, I have counties that won't even talk to each other. So kudos to everybody in this region. People are seeing how good we are, how great we are, and how we can work together. So a big Sault Ste. Marie deserves a pat on the back. The volunteers. And like you and I were talking just before, remember everybody out there, the race was wonderful. We all, very successful weekend, but the cleanup on Sunday is very important. And if you ever want to volunteer, you can, if you don't want to do it beforehand, if you don't want to water, if you don't want to help put up banners or anything like that, because remember, this is 100% volunteer. You don't see that for 55 years. That's amazing. So if you can always go up and volunteer the next day and help clean up. So thank you, Sault Ste. Marie. You guys are all awesome. Any questions? Did I
No.
say enough? Don, did I
Back
miss
at you,
anything?
Linda. Thank you. CVB did
Oh,
a great
hey.
job. Appreciate
I'm
everything
telling
do.
you, I'm pumped. I'm still pumped from the weekend because it
was a
was
great
such
weekend.
a positive. And don't worry, we're going to get the dollars.
Busy but wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? So seeing none, we'll move on into item J, which is matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioners, Commissioner Boss's Wrath.
I'll go first, I guess, just to piggyback off of Linda. It was so fun. Like, you could just go up there, and even in town, if you didn't go to the race, the positivity and the energy this weekend for Sault Ste. Marie was unbelievable. Going up to the race, yes, it was muddy. Not for like the first half till about noon, 1 o'clock. It was, the ground held up pretty good. But the people and the energy, and everybody was talking with everybody, and the volunteers that worked, not even that weekend, but weeks before. My husband's on the parking committee, and 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, they're doing stuff, they're getting ready. All the volunteers, amazing job. Thank you. It's one of the highlights of the year, so good job, Sault Ste. Marie.
Anybody else? Commissioner Marble has some.
Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the I-500 due to my work schedule, but I just want to say that everyone that I ran across, working down at the Alpha, they were excited and ecstatic about how wonderful the community is, and they couldn't believe how great the race was. Like I said, I just want to back it up and say, thank you to all the volunteers. I mean, it's a lot of work and a lot of time that they put in there, and I just want to say how appreciated it is, and it's 55 years of that. That's a lot of years. So, thank you again.
Mr. Bauer.
Just, all the volunteer work and, everything that went into that, it was practically a miracle, really, when you consider the way the weather has been this winter. And even, we got a little bit of a break that it could happen, but really it was the people that made it work. I'm personally, and I know I'm not the only one, I am profoundly grateful that they were able to make that work. Because, if you don't get an I-500 in here, then it's really a financial catastrophe for a lot of businesses. I will say definitively that this year's I-500 was right on par with the past couple years coming out of COVID. So we didn't, financially, we didn't miss a beat. And like I said, I have nothing but gratitude to every single volunteer who helped make that work.
Commissioner Gage.
I gotta say something about I-500 too, I guess, since everybody else is. I think one of the things, certainly the race, and when we had Dave Thomas come, and I asked him if we were gonna have it, and he promised a 500 lap race, and he delivered a 500 lap race, so I appreciate that. But I think one of the things that what I appreciate the most that this community is starting to do is the things that happened before that to really highlight and showcase the community, and certainly Linda has done so much to make those opportunities possible. I frequently go to other big Upper Peninsula events like the UP 200 sled dog race in Marquette, and those events have become big draws that bring up legislators and things like that to see the community, and really are great times for the community to showcase their best and their brightest. So certainly appreciate Linda and all the efforts that you and Chris Olson with the Chippewa EDC and certainly the Sioux Tribe did. The more we can continue to make those events before the race, not only does it help draw the tourism dollars and that kind of stuff, but it helps draw political and public attention to the community that can help us with not just support for the race, certainly that's very important, but it's a great opportunity for Lake State to also advocate for these folks, for any community group to advocate to these folks. And so the more we can support those efforts as well, the better.
All right, anybody else? Commissioner Rubenstein.
I'll just end it. I'll just end it with this story. My wife, who's from Sault Ste. Marie, had never been to the I-500 before, and this was her first one. And when asked after if she would go back, she said yes. So thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you for all the work that was put into making the event happen. And for those in town or out of town who have never been before, I encourage you to go next year because I promise you, when asked if you'll go back, your answer will be yes. It's a lot of fun. So thank you.
Commissioner Bauer.
I move that we adjourn this meeting and enter into closed session.
Support.